بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Inshallah, tonight I'm gonna brief you again about the concept or the principle of causality, because a lot of what we're going to learn about Islam stems from the concept or the principle of causality. So we're going to review that briefly and then we move on. Again, the principle of causality is something that we believe in. Every human being literally believes in causality. Sciences are all causality. All scientists apply the principles of causalities. Not all of them, not all the principles apply, but philosophers apply all the principles that I'm gonna again share with you tonight. So it would be a review for those who were here last time. It would be new to the ones who were not here. Again, we know that everything that that exists is a part of a complex chain of causes and effects. Anything you can think about is part of that complex chain of causes and effects. Is a particular thing can be a cause of something other than it, and it is itself is something that has been caused by something else. It is the effect of something else and the cause of something that comes after it. So anything in existence is part of that chain of causes and effects. Everything is part of that. There's nothing that's outside this chain. Because of that, if this chain continues to infinity, it means if we look for anything and then look for its cause, and that effect also has been caused by something else, if that chain continues to infinity, then this chain has no beginning. And we know things happen, meaning they aren't and then they are. So this chain, a lot of it comes to existence afterwards, which means it has to have a beginning. It has to have the beginning. It has to have a first link in the chain. That first link in the chain, which is the cause of everything, must have all what everything else needs. And that first cause is what we call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is also another part of the concept is that there is ultimate coherence between the cause and its effect. Example, fire causes heat. Heat and fire are very related. There is nothing more related to fire than heat. So the heat and fire, you cannot separate the two. Cause and effect cannot be separated. Anytime the cause of something exists, if all the parts of the cause exist, then the effect will exist. You cannot have the cause, a complete cause, and no effect. For example, if I have fuel, gasoline, I have oxygen, I have gas, I have the gasoline, the oxygen, and the gravity, or somehow to keep them together, the space needed, the time needed, and then I give it a spark. All of these parts are the parts of a complex cause. So this complex cause, which needs its parts, when all the parts of a complex cause come together, the effect comes right away. Meaning when I give the spark, the fire is going to start. The effect of having gasoline, which is a fuel, the oxygen, which is needed for combustion, the time, the space, all together, and the spark, you cannot have all of them and no fire. If you have that, there will be a fire. And when there is a fire like that, there's heat. The effect of the fire is heat. So you have the cause that caused fire. So the fire is the effect of the complex cause. And then heat is the effect of the fire. And heat can be a cause for something else. So that chain of causes and effects, anything you look at in the universe is part of that complex chain of causes and effects. And the ultimate and the first cause is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and one of his names, Huwa al-Awwal. Allah calls himself in the Quran, Huwa al-Awwal. He is the beginning, he is the first. Then there's also two types of causes. Anything that exists has two causes. One cause is how it exists. How it exists. The how cause. And there's another cause known as the what for cause. In Arabic, there's a al-'illa al-gha'iyya, meaning the objective of the effect, the objective of the cause. There's an objective for the effect. So Allah, for example, in Quran, Allah speaks on the tongue of Musa alayhi salam. The Pharaoh asked Musa, he says, "O Musa and Harun, who is your God? فمن ربكما يا موسى?" قال, Musa answered, ربنا الذي أعطى كل شيء خلقه ثم هدى. Rabbuna, Allah, is the one who gave everything its creation and its objective, and he guided it to its objective. So everything that exists, every effect that exists, every effect, not every cause, because the ultimate cause, subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Allah, does not have an objective himself. Allah doesn't do anything for himself. Allah doesn't need anything. Allah creates, and part of the creation is anytime he creates something, because Allah's creation is perfect in every way and complete in every way, so the creation has objective. Anytime there is a creation, there is objective for it. So there is a how it happens and what for it happens. These two things exist in nature with everything you know. Look at the tree, for example, a tree. How it exists, you have as a seed, the soil, the water, the sunlight, the gravity, the air, the time. You have all the conditions, the heat. Now you have the tree. What for? The tree provides shade, the tree provides wood for firewood, it can provide fruits, it can keeps the soil together, it has many objectives. But all of those are part of the cause for the tree to exist. So there is nothing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, that's Islam, that doesn't have an objective. Now we need to learn something which is very important. The objective of anything is more important than it. The objective of anything is more important than it, because that thing exists for that objective. The objective of the first effect, meaning Allah is the cause. Allah is the ultimate cause. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the first. He himself does not have an objective. He wasn't made. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the perfect in any way, in every way. He's the wealthy, the rich. He doesn't need anything. But his first effect, which is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as we has an objective. Allah created Muhammad and gave him an objective. He created Muhammad for an objective. The objective must be greater than Muhammad. There is nothing greater than Muhammad except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muhammad was created for Allah. There is nothing in the life of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, nothing in his mind greater than Allah. Because of that, the greatest slogan of Islam is Allahu Akbar. Because of that, we say Allahu Akbar. When you want to know if somebody is Muslim, you will hear him saying Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah is a greater. So nothing greater than Muhammad except the objective of Muhammad, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Muhammad was created for Allah. Allah created Muhammad for himself. And there is a hadith Qudsi that says the following. The hadith Qudsi that says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Yabna Adam, O the child of Adam, خلقت الأشياء لأجلك. I created everything for you. There isn't a thing you can name in the universe that was not created for the mankind, including the angels. خلقت الأشياء لأجلك وخلقتك لأجلي. And I created you, and your objective is I. There is nothing greater than the human being that becomes a true follower of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad except Allah. When you become a copy of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you do, then there is nothing greater than you except Allah. And Allah wants you to feel that. Allah wants you to know that you were created for Him. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad are the way to Him, are the ones who are going to guide us to Allah. They never called anybody to themselves. They wanted us to go to Allah. But they said, there is no way to Allah except through us. There is no other way. Including the prophets, they went to Allah through Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Their highest example is Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. When they were trying to please Allah the most, they were trying to copy Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Now you will say, oh, Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad were created or were born way later. And the answer to that is that when we say that the first effect of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, the first creation of Allah is Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, and the objective of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that doesn't necessarily mean that Allah created the flesh of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad before anything else. It doesn't mean that. We know that earth, from which we are created, because our body is created from earth. Earth is only 4.5 billion years old, according to science. And that's very much true. So earth had to be there before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created anybody, like physically. But Adam was there before earth. Allah created Adam before He created earth. How is that? So Allah didn't create the flesh of Adam before earth. He created the mind set. He created the self, because the self, yourself isn't your body. Your body carries that self. Yourself isn't your brain. Yourself is your characteristic, meaning your values, your manners, your beliefs. The way you act is a reflection of yourself. It's not a reflection of your body. The way you act or react is not a reflection of how tall you are or how short, or if you're white or yellow or red or black. It is not that. Your reactions and actions are reflections of your interior, your core, your real thing, which you call I. The thing you call eye isn't your eyes, isn't your nose, isn't even this body. Sometimes when you are thinking about something that's, and you go deep in your thinking, you forget you exist physically. Your mind is above your physicality. Your soul is above your physicality. So that you of yours was created already. The you, the self, the human being, the concept of a human being was created before the physical human being. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His creation has to be perfect. He is perfect, His creation is perfect. And the ultimate creation of Allah is the mind. And the mind isn't anywhere else except in the human being. The mind that grows because of your interaction with events, with situations, your mind grows. That mind that grows, that ability to interact and create feelings, that is created before your physicality, the mind. But you acquire the mind as you go with life. When you are first born, a child, a baby does not have true mind. It has, it has the brain, the nervous system. It can react to things. It can feel things, but the mind has not been established yet. But it is there. The mind is there. The mind is like a conceptual thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have already. There isn't anything new to Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to increase in any form. Allah's knowledge is not going to increase in any way. Allah's kingdom is not going to increase in any way. It's infinite in all the time. His knowledge Allah does not acquire a new knowledge. So Allah's knowing you before He created you is the same. His knowledge is the same as knowing you after He created you physically. So that mind that Allah knows is there. The human being that Allah knows is already there before He created him physically. So that human being to which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted all the human beings to be a copy of, that perfect human being that Allah knows is Muhammad. So before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought Muhammad physically to earth, He made him grow from earth like everyone else. Muhammad as a value, Muhammad as a position, as a creation, as an existence already exists in Allah's knowledge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, depending on how close you are as a prophet to Allah, the closer you are as a prophet to Allah, the more He teaches you of the values of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Are you able to follow that? Because the concept, what Allah wants us to be as close to Him as possible. Allah wants us to acquire the qualities that are the best qualities. But the qualities are there already. Nobody is creating qualities. Allah created these qualities, and the utmost, the most beautiful, the most perfect, the most complete qualities for a human being are the qualities of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. And He wants us to copy those. And the most, the greater the prophets, is the greater their copying of the qualities of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. That's what makes different prophets at higher levels. The closer they are to the qualities of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, the higher they are. And there's nothing closer to Allah than the qualities of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. So Allah is the merciful. Allah is the merciful. But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the most merciful creature of Allah. His mercy, there's nothing greater than the mercy of Muhammad except the mercy of the creator of Muhammad, Allah. There is nothing greater than the knowledge of Muhammad except the knowledge of Allah. There is nothing greater than in values than the personality of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam except Allah. So Muhammad knows that. And Muhammad, even though he is the best creation, Muhammad continues to grow. Even today, even in Jannah, all people in Jannah continue to grow toward Allah, but Allah is infinite in every way. So sallallahu alayhi ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, there's a hadith from Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam that says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us about him every Thursday, new knowledge. He increased our knowledge of Allah, of him. Imam Zayn al-Abidin is speaking about himself and the rest of the Imams. Allah increases our knowledge. He gives us new knowledge about himself every Thursday. And when that knowledge comes to us, it's so great that we feel that we didn't know Allah enough before. So that's what we are talking about here. So we learned a few things today is that every effect every effect has two causes: the how cause and the what for cause. And we learned that the first effect was Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad afterwards, and their objective, which is the what for, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what makes Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam so special. That's what makes Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, meaning Muhammad and wa Ali, the closest to Allah. Because their life, there is nothing in their life that has an objective other than Allah. They do not do anything except for Allah. Even when they provide for the poor, they provide for the poor to please Allah, for the sake of Allah. They go into war, they fight, they lose, they win. All of that is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't do anything for themselves directly, like they do it to please themselves. Like, oh, today I feel like I want to, please myself with ice cream on a hot day. They don't do that. Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, they live their life in every way, in every minute for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But don't think this is a burden. Don't think this is too much. It's actually the most beautiful, most enjoyable thing if you can reach that. If you are able to do that, you will not change. Once you hit the road to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are not coming back. You're going to continue. That's it. Because there is no one that gets to know Allah and doesn't fall in love with Allah. No one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a hadith Qudsi that says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Man talabani wajadani. He who seeks me shall find me. Waman wajadani arafani. And he who finds me will know me. Waman arafani ahabbani. And he who knows me will fall in love with me. Waman ahabbani. Because when you fall in love with Allah, you're going to start doing things to please Allah. What happens? وَمَنْ أَحَبَّنِي عَشَقَنِي وَمَنْ أَحَبَّنِي أَحْبَبْتُهُ. And he who loves me, I love back. I give that special love. You see, Allah loves everything that He created. But there's a special love to those who truly love Allah. So when you show love to Allah, there isn't anything greater than that, by the way. I can, for example, we are friends, and I give you money if you need it. But believe me, if you feel that I'm just giving you money just because I don't feel good about it, if I don't, is one thing. And if I'm helping you because I truly love you, is a different situation. When you feel somebody loves you, you're going to have a different look at that person. You're going to have a different value for that person. When we love Allah, Allah is going to love us that special love back. وَمَنْ أَحَبَّنِي أَحْبَبْتُهُ. وَمَنْ أَحْبَبْتُهُ. When Allah shows us love and we taste the love that He gave us, what happens? وَمَنْ أَحْبَبْتُهُ عَشَقَنِي. عَشَقَنِي, it means He will have a crush on me. Continuous crush. The love will grow so much that the heart will be burning all the time with love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That situation is known in Arabic as ashq. There isn't, I don't know myself, I don't know a word in English or in any other language that's equivalent to ashq. Even in Persian, in Farsi, when they want to say ashq, there is no true word for it in Persian, in Persian language, they use the word ashq. Once they understand the meaning of ashq, they continue to say the same word in Arabic. So ashq in Arabic and ashq in Farsi is the same word. There is no equal word to it in any other language. If somebody knows what ashq is in English, please help me with that. I haven't found a true equivalent word for ashq in English. So ashq is a love that is that grabs you, that contains you, that like it controls you. A love that controls you. You don't do anything except because you love that thing. So all the things you do is because of that love. That situation, when you are really doing everything because of that love, you can't sleep because of that love. That love thing that you love is always on your mind, continuously, like with burning urgency to meet. That's ashq. وَمَنْ عَشَقَنِي. So if you love Allah, if you seek Allah, you will find Him. If you find Him, you will know Him. If you know Him, you will love Him. If you love Him, He loves you. If He loves you, you will have ashq for Him. If you love ashq for Allah, Allah will have ashq for you. You will be present with Allah all the time. Meaning Allah is giving you attention all the time, continuous attention, with love, ashq. So Allah will also have ashq to you. وَمَنْ عَشَقَنِي عَشَقْتُهُ وَمَنْ عَشَقْتُهُ. The word in Arabic, قَتَلْتُهُ, which means I kill him. Not physically. Not physically. Allah is not going to kill anybody physically. I kill him means there is nothing else. I will occupy his mind. I occupy his heart. It means I will extract him. I'll draw him to me that he doesn't want anything else. Nothing. So to us, for example, you know what the word Masih means? Masih means that the Messiah, the Christ, the Messiah, Masih. The word Masih means somebody who has been wiped off from this life. It means he has no connection with this life. He doesn't do anything for any material thing. So Masih alayhi salam reached that ashq, and Allah gave him ashq back. So he was withdrawn from this life. He has no connection with this world whatsoever. And that's one great situation Allah wants us, and Allah has given us a hand that we can accomplish, we can reach. وَمَنْ قَتَلْتُهُ. And he who I kill, فَعَلَيَّ دِيَتُهُ. I have to pay the price of him. Diya is, if you kill somebody by mistake, you pay diya. In Islam, if by mistake, something happens, you kill somebody by mistake, you were not vicious, an accident, then you pay diya. Diya is like something to compensate. So Allah says, and he who I owe him diya, I am his diya. Allah becomes your diya. Allah will substitute everything for you. Allah will be yours. It's like that. The connection between you and Allah will become inseparable. من عشقني عشقته ومن عشقته قتلته ومن قتلته فعلي ديته ومن كان علي ديته فأنا ديته. That is where Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad are. Rasulullah used to say, he who wants to look at a dead person, من أراد أن ينظر إلى ميت فلينظر إلى علي. Look at Ali. If you want to see somebody who is dead, meaning who has a person that doesn't seek anything of this life for himself, is Ali. That's if you want to see somebody who Allah had killed. in that sense, in the sense of the hadith that I was mentioning. Look at Ali, alayhi salatu wasalam. And that's the case of every one of Ahlul Bayt, alayhi salam. So that was a brief of the uh, principle of causality as much as it relates to the Islamic values. So with that, we learn that Allah is one. He is the first cause and the only first cause. There is no two causes together at the beginning, just one cause, which is Allah. And that cause, a complete cause, has only one effect, one direct effect. And that is Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And then we learned from the concept of causality, we can learn that Allah is one in every way. And that's, what time do we have now?
30 minutes.
Okay. So if you want, I can stop now, or I can move on to speaking about Tawheed. So we learned that Allah is the creator and Allah has all what His creation needs. And Allah doesn't need anything for Himself, and Allah didn't create anything for Himself, like directly because He needs Him. Even though the hadith says, I created you for me, it means there's no objective for you except I. Your objective is I. It means there's nothing greater than you except I. Because we said that the objective of the effect is greater than the effect. There is nothing greater than you except I. That's what Allah is telling the human being. So we need to live that. We need to feel that. We need to feel that there is nothing greater than us except Allah. And because of that, we shouldn't be dictating or dedicating our lives for anything except to please Allah. Even say, I'm a person who, I'm a teacher, I'm serving students. But as a Muslim, my intention is to please Allah by teaching these students. My objective shouldn't be how much money I'm gonna make. I might make a decision on that based on that because I have needs to fulfill. But the objective of teaching, the objective of driving, the objective of visiting the ill, the objective of helping the poor is the pleasure of Allah, pleasing Allah. In this sense, all my actions are proving that I am a muwahhid, monotheist. I'm a monotheist, meaning my objective is one, Allah. My actions rotate around one thing, Allah. That's Tawheed Amali, meaning all my actions, supposedly, if I become a true muwahhid, a person who truly worships completely Allah and nothing else, then all my actions will be devoted to please Allah. That's a muwahhid. Now, saying La ilaha illallah, which means saying no God but Allah, Muhammad Rasulullah, that's acknowledgement. I acknowledge that. That's not an active acknowledgement. Active acknowledgement when my actions reflect La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. So when my actions are all to please Allah, that's La ilaha illallah. When all my actions are meant to please Allah, that's an active display in action my understanding and my belief that there's no God but Allah. Now, if my actions comply with the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning with the teachings of Muhammad, then I am true Muslim. Then I'm saying truly, by action, Muhammad Rasulullah. It's as a beginner, I have to say by mouth. My tongue have to move and make that sound, and I am saying what I believe in. I say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, I believe in that, I'm a Muslim. But now to really practice Tawheed and belief in Nubuwwah, I have to reflect that in my actions. My actions have to be meant in every way. Even when I bring a flower to my wife, I'm trying to please her, yes, but ultimately I want to please Allah. I will say, Allah, you trusted me with this woman. She is my wife. I'm pleasing her for you. Even the wife, when she is pleasing her husband, she is going to please her husband for Allah. So there is no conflict. You understand? You can please people, but please them for Allah. There's nothing, there's no harm done. It's your intention. That's the most important thing. When you help somebody, help them for Allah. When you teach, when you learn, when you do anything, there is you go swimming, you enjoy swimming. Say, I want to swim so I become healthier, so I can pray better, so I can think better, so I can help better for Allah. There is nothing you can do that you cannot have a good intention for. As a Muslim, if you are doing everything halal, then you can have a great intention too. Rasulullah teaching Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, "O Ali, ليكن لك في كل عمل نية." O Ali, let there be in every action of yours a niyyah, an intention. Don't do anything just because you have the habit of doing it. Do everything for intention. An example of that. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam was passing by a house of one of his students. And he noticed that he was making an opening in the door, in the wall, a window. So Imam alayhi salam asked him this. He says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm opening a window in the wall." He said, "What for?" He said, "So that when we cook in the kitchen, the smell and the air, becomes fresh by opening the window." Imam alayhi salatu wasalam told him, "Why didn't you make the intention when you open the window, you can see the sun and learn the time of prayer? Include that in your intention. Yes, it's going to serve to air the kitchen and make it smell better and relieve it from all this, scent and smoke, whatever it is. But it can help you with something else too. Look at the other side. You can look from it. You can see the sun, by looking at outside from the window that it is time to pray." So that's what, the hadith that says, "Oh Ali, let there be an intention in every action of yours. Make an intention for every action of yours." That's a big wasiyah. Actually, it's very hard for us as beginners. We will always find ourselves doing things out of habits, without thinking, without intentions. We just do them. For example, I'm hungry, I just go eat. But somebody with intention, he says, or she says, "I'm gonna eat so I become stronger, so I can pray, so I can help, I can fast, I can do this, that, for Allah. I become healthier for Allah. I can think better for Allah because when I'm hungry, I cannot think as much. I'm stressed." So for example, so there are people who, when they go hungry, they start having headache. Not everybody can handle hunger the same way. So some people say, "If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat so my headache goes away." You can have a different intention, an intention that brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many times our actions, there's a philosophical principle that says every action enhances its cause, its reason. For example, every time I pray, my prayer enhances my relationship with Allah. The cause of the prayer is that I want to have a good relation with Allah. So every time I pray, the relationship with Allah grows. You understand? So every time you do something, if you are able to make an intention, so that action that you did will enhance the intention, will make your intention more beautiful. So that's known as, all of that is as the practicing Tawheed. Practicing Tawheed. That's on our behalf. That's on physicality. Now there's two other kinds of Tawheed. The oneness of Allah. When we say Allah is one, that's Tawheed. But Allah is one in every way. Allah is one in every way. His, if you want to say, description. If we're gonna say Allah is beautiful, Allah is powerful, Allah is knowledgeable, Allah is majestic, Allah is divine, Allah is Quddus. If you take any of these, Allah is merciful, Allah is wise. If you take any of these attributes of Allah and try to reach their ultimate, the higher you go in valuing Allah, mercy. When you look at Allah's mercy in depth, you will find Allah's mercy, when you go far in it, is also Allah's beauty, is also Allah's greatness. Allah's mercy is also Allah's knowledge, is also Allah's majesty, is also Allah's jalal. In every way, if you so all of these attributes of Allah, they narrow down to one thing. So Allah is one in every way. Allah is not just one, the fact He is the only God. Also, Allah is one in the fact that all His attributes at the end are one attribute. Not only that, Allah doesn't have parts. You know, we are made out of parts and we are not one in any way. The only way we become one is when our objective becomes one objective, and that is Allah. That's when we become one. Each one of us becomes one, true one. Otherwise, we are divided. Our personality, you know, sometimes we are angry, sometimes we want this, we want that. All of a sudden, our energy, our time, our activities are so spread apart. But as a mu'min, a true mu'min, your activities will finally narrow down to pleasing Allah. So Allah is one in that sense too. Allah one, there's no other God than Him. Allah is one in the fact that He is not made of parts. It doesn't have any need to anything. And Allah is one, meaning His knowledge is the same as His mercy, is the same as His beauty, is the same as His majesty. All of that is one. You cannot separate Allah's knowledge from Allah's beauty. You cannot separate Allah's knowledge from Allah's mercy. You cannot separate Allah's knowledge today from Allah's knowledge tomorrow, from Allah's knowledge yesterday. Not only that, Allah is one in His state. Allah doesn't change. In that sense, also Allah is one. The same Allah. Yesterday, 1 billion years ago, 100 billion years ago, Allah, for Him, there's no time factor. Time factors are created for us and for the rest of the creation. For Him, there's no passage of time. So Allah is one in that sense also. There's a lot to know about that Tawheed other than what I mentioned, but they all, you know, I have given you a brief of Tawheed. So you should look at Tawheed in a different mindset now, inshallah. If you think you learned something new about Tawheed, let me know. If you think you didn't learn anything new, so I need to know, because of when I talk to people, I don't want to think I'm, doing something extra or I'm doing something less than needed. Was this, beneficial?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. So we end this lecture tonight with saying, La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If you have any questions, please raise your voice so we can hear you on the
The word you was looking for to describe all of
ashq.
also, yeah. Would the English word before obsessed?
Obsessed doesn't really reflect ashq, but it is close. I mean, it carries with it, it carries with it some of the effects of ashq. Obsession is not ashq.
It's really like deeply, madly in love with somebody, willing to die for that someone. You're willing to go all the way for, like, so many meanings could go with it to make that one word.
That's what I think obsessed is.
When all your life becomes about that person.
Obsessed people can be harmful to the person they are obsessed with.
Well, that's the other side of obsessed.
Yes,
You can be
no,
obsessed
that's why
with-
it's
yeah.
not ashq. That's why it's not ashq.
Yeah. term obsessed, from my understanding of it, is when you have, you say, an infatuation with, or an unimaginable desire or love for something.
Yeah.
No matter if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Obsessed
Yeah.
with it.
No, ashq is different.
It's different. Yeah.
Yes. But it carries that. Part of it is obsession, but in a good sense.
It's a good sense.
Yes.
Deeply into someone.
Now, ash, is this something that is only meant for us? Is it only meant for Allah, or is it also meant for His creations as well? Is this something
You can have ashq for His creation too. You can. For example, there's a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that says, لا يؤمن أحدكم بالله واليوم الآخر or بالله حتى أكون أحب إليه من نفسه. You are not going to be a true believer until I become more loved by you than yourself. Everybody loves himself and herself. But you, as a mu'min, as a believer, you should love Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad more than you love yourself and your children and family. So لا يؤمن أحدكم بالله حتى أكون أحب إليه من نفسه ويكون أهل بيتي وذريتي أحب إليه من أهل بيته وذريته. Until I become more loved to him than himself to himself, and my family is more loved to him than his family is to him. Yes.
How do you love someone that you're, I feel like that you're not, that they're really not, that you don't see him or touch him or feel him or understand him
Yes.
to that degree?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's a good question, and the answer is
extremely
there.
hard to,
Yes,
like
it's a-
for a child, you can love that child. I mean, but for something from that you read about or study about, it's kind of hard to grasp the type of love.
Okay, so the reason for that, you have to grow to that. Love, please listen to this. Love is the greatest action you can take. Love is the greatest action you can take. Now, love itself can cause something else physically. So the love is the greatest feeling you can have, greatest positive feeling you can have. After that, there is ashq. But to start with, you have to have love. Your love to anything is greater than anything you can do to that thing. Your love. So you cannot love something unless you have grown to it. For example, I want to love Muhammad. How can I love him if I am not close to him? You will not love Muhammad or Ali Muhammad truly until you truly love their attributes. And once you have, for example, Muhammad was a merciful person. If you are not merciful person, you are not going to love Muhammad or Ali Muhammad. Muhammad was a caring person. If you do not become a caring person and caring doesn't have a value in you, then you cannot love Muhammad or Ali Muhammad. Muhammad or Ali Muhammad was absolute honesty. If you do not admire honesty and you are struggling to become an honest person, you cannot love Muhammad or Ali Muhammad. So you have to love the attributes, then find the person who has these attributes and love him. So before loving Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad physically, you have to love their attributes. Before loving Allah, you have to love the attributes of Allah. You have to learn them. And the only way you can love the attributes of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad is when you learn these attributes are the best thing for you. If you do not come to believe that carrying and acquiring these attributes are the best thing for you, if you don't reach that state, there's no way you're going to love these attributes, and there's no way you're going to love the owners of these attributes. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. You have to create the love to these attributes.
Aren't they one and the same?
Excuse me?
Aren't they one and the same? Loving the attributes of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the same thing as loving him?
At the end, yes.
So they're one
Because
and the same.
because you have to see the attributes in the person. You have to admire these attributes, and once you know these attributes, you will know who has them and love him. Does that make sense?
his question and your answer, that we go back to what you started in the beginning. من عرفني أحبني وأنا أحبني أحببته.
Yes.
We go back to that because you're trying to tell him that to answer his questions, that you have to get to know, you have to work on it to get to that point.
Yes.
We go back to من عرفني أحبني ومن أحبني أحببته. Whoever knows me loves me, whoever loves me I love him back. So we go back to that. Gradually you'll be working on it to get there. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does, because I mean, I consider reading the books. I consider reading the Sunnah. I consider listening to scholars. But to grasp the love that you're explaining to, it's like a different dimension almost.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is. It is because we are really, truly far. If we want to be honest with ourselves, we can say, honestly, we are far from these attributes. And our struggle as Muslims is to acquire these attributes and you know love them and they should become part of us. And these attributes should grow in us. Say I'm generous today this much. I need to grow this generosity to become true generous person. If I love this much, I need to grow that love. If I am honest this much, I need to grow this honesty. I need to look for the gaps in any of these attributes in myself and correct them. And then I love Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Otherwise, on the day of judgment, we will be surprised. We will be surprised by Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We would be running away from them. You understand what I'm saying? Because the difference between would be so great that would be them in the eye. We need to grow to that. If you struggle honestly to that, then you are okay. Because Allah says, I'm going to require from you only as much as you are capable. So if you do your capacity, then you are fine. But if you are always falling short of that, you're not doing everything you can, and when you can, and there's no obstacles, then you have a problem. You need to be serious. Part of being a Muslim is being serious. One of the attributes of a mu'min, al-mu'minu jad, meaning serious. A believer is serious. Yes.
Just to clarify, back to Ash. So, is this something that we should be looking forward to have towards, say, our parents or our wives, or is this something for Muhammad and Muhammad and for Allah?
No, you can have a ashq for your wife.
Okay.
No problem. But your ashq to Allah and Ali Muhammad is way greater than that.
Mm-hmm.
You can love your wife, of course.
Mm-hmm. But it's a different love. It's not just love.
No. It's a love for the creation of Allah.
Mm-hmm. Which is different than the love of Allah.
Yes.
Okay.
But you are going to love Allah by loving His creation. Knowing that in your love, you're saying, Allah, I love you and I love everything you made. I love you and I love every decision you make for me. I love you and I love everything you decide for me. That's part of love. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you can love your children, of course.
Right.
You can love your wife and Allah. It's intrinsic in us. Mm-hmm. It's something that's built in. Allah wants us to love our wives,
right.
And He وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. He made that love. And if you cannot love your father and mother, you cannot love Allah.
But the love that we have for Allah is we can't compare. We can't put it in the same.
It's the same type. It's a love, except that is love to worship. This is love to serve, to help. So because serving your wife, according to the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is worship to Allah. When you are pleasing your wife in the way Allah wants you to, you are worshiping Allah. That's what I'm saying at the beginning. You can have an intention with everything you do to please Allah. So there is no conflict. The only time there is a conflict if you are pleasing your wife in a way that is haram, that Allah doesn't like. You're doing something. Your wife wants you to do something, and for example, there are many examples of what a person can ask you and you want to really provide, but you could be doing something haram in that situation. So as long as you are doing things in the halal way, in a way that Allah approves, and you're doing it to please Allah, then you are okay. This is the only way actually you can please Allah.
Okay, last question. Just so would you say that we were all before we were all here physically in creation, that we were all like have you mentioned before how you know Nabi Adam and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that they were created in theory, or not theory but their minds. Is that for all creation? Were we all created before we were here physically?
So let me answer this in a way that a little bit makes you understand this. Everything that exists in nature. Remember last meeting, I was speaking about the seven skies, and above that, there's something that doesn't belong to this universe. All of this existence is connected, and things that the way Allah creates is not like I take these so many pages and I stack them together and make a book. This is not called in a way. This is not part of bringing anything to existence. I'm just remodulating things. The way Allah brings things to existence, Allah describes that in the Quran. وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا عِندَنَا خَزَائِنُهُ وَمَا نُنَزِّلُهُ إِلَّا بِقَدَرٍ مَعْلُومٍ. There's nothing, including human beings, that we do not have the storage for. And we bring it down in established quantities. So you, as a human being, today you are physically here. But in one stage, you were there, at least in the stage of knowledge. And the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a true existence. Allah is not like us, we have a brain, we store information in our brain. It's not like that. The knowledge of Allah is a true existence in His realm, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He brings down His knowledge to existence in this form. So the way Allah creates is different. We are creatures. We are limited in that sense. We can only change things. I can move this to here, take a part of the rock, melt it, make iron. I don't bring anything from outer space and not from outer universe. Everything is here, and I just work with it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings down things that already exist in His storage. But the storage also He brought down from something higher. So if you want me to answer this in more depth, and you are ready for 10 minutes more, I can give you a little bit more about that. There is a hadith Qudsi, hadith from Rasulullah. First of all, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Rasulullah is speaking to Imam Ali. Oh Ali, the first thing that Allah created is you and I, is I and you. Ya Ali, أول ما خلق الله أنا وأنت. Then Imam Ali asked, how was that? He says, Allah took a portion of the light of His face, not face physically, but meaning the face of Allah, wajhullah, is the part that we are able to connect with Allah with. So the wajhullah means anything that teaches us about Allah. So Allah took a portion of that light from His face and they split it into two halves. And He said to the first half, be Muhammad, and to the second half, be Ali. قبض قبضة من نور وجهه فقسمها قسمين فقال للأول كن محمد وللآخر كن علي. He says to that light. What's light physically? This is light physically? No. Light doesn't mean that. In that sense, we're talking about the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the light of the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The face of Allah is not part of Allah physically. Allah is not made of parts, as we said. But the orientation to which this universe can know Allah with. For example, we know Allah by His mercy. So the mercy of Allah is part of the face of Allah. So the face of Allah is not physical, because mercy is not physical. You understand? So it's not a physical part, and it's not a different dimension or anything. So to give you an example, say, and this is an example that some philosophers made up, a group of blind people were shown an elephant. So they cannot see the elephant. And they gathered around the elephant and they were touching the elephant, and they were asked afterwards, can you describe the creature that you have seen or that you have met or you have touched? So one says, well, when the creature is bony, because that person happened to touch the trunk or the husk, the tusk. That thing that I touched had a lot of flesh. One person touched maybe part of the elephant where there's a lot of skin. Then I felt that thing is tall. It has a tail. So everybody is describing that being in a different way because they cannot see the entire thing. We human beings, we know of Allah as much as we orient ourselves toward Him. We are blind in a sense to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more of attributes we carry from Allah's attributes, the better we know Him. The way we know Allah is known as orientation toward Allah. We call that the face of Allah. It's not that Allah has a face. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So when Allah takes light from His face, meaning part of the way to know Allah, and that is known as nur, as light, because knowledge is truly light. Okay, and that light with which Allah can be known is split into two halves. One half is Muhammad and the second half is Ali. Now, from that light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created from that light 20 oceans. The ocean of darkness, the ocean of light. There's a lot of explanation here. The ocean of mercy, the ocean of love, the ocean of knowledge, the ocean of piety, the ocean of taqwa, the ocean of wisdom. So 20 oceans, and then from that light. But that light, when Allah created these things from the ocean of mercy, for example, is created from that light. But that light did not decrease in any way, stayed the same light. But the ocean of mercy came out. That light stayed the same, but the ocean of love came out. That light stayed the same, but the ocean of knowledge came out. Then Allah asked that light, which is now the light of Muhammad, to go into the ocean of love and stayed there for 70,000 years. The ocean of mercy, 70,000 years. The ocean of knowledge, the ocean of piety, all of these oceans. And the last ocean that he came out from, Allah, after also 70,000 years, Allah tells the light, "Oh my love, oh the master of my prophets." So Allah spoke to him, to the light, "Oh my love, oh the master of my prophets." Then the light went into sujood for Allah. As he went into sujood, the hadith says from Rasulullah, 124,000 droplets of the last ocean fell off. Each droplet became a prophet. 124,000 prophets. So in that sense, Things are coming down from the highest, from the light of Allah. In that sense, it's not something that's easily explained. I don't claim that I understand completely this in any way, but I can make sense of it. It makes sense to me. I not just accept it, I feel it. I feel it is true. It's a hadith that's well documented, and well known also for the scholars. So in that sense, things are created, not in the sense that Allah takes physically, Allah touches this. Allah doesn't have a contact like that with anything. Allah is not physical in any way. I hope this helps a little bit. I know it's not completely satisfactory because you need to take that hadith and study it maybe for a few weeks, seriously, one portion at a time to fully understand it from somebody who really knows, not just me. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى محمد. Any other questions? Other questions? No? Thank you for listening again. I'm glad to be among you. I'm happy that you are here. It helps me again share my knowledge.